Hello, friends. Welcome to the Nope Coach podcast. I'm your host, Suzanne Kohlberg, joined today by Laura Gates Lupton. I think this is your 9th or 10th
I was
appearance on
thinking,
the
I think it's
show.
my 10th. I think it's my 10th appearance on your podcast.
I love it.
I do
And
too.
this is episode 476, Networking Without Schmooze. So both Laura and I are highly sensitive people. I'm introverted, Laura's extroverted, and although we know networking moves the needle forward in our business, I think I'm speaking for both of us. I love Laura's take, but I know I hate it like Gollum hates bread. It's like, we should network, but we hates it. Or networking's like, if you've seen The Lion King, you know how the hyenas go, Mufasa, ah! And it's just, I know, it can be easy or more fun to fiddle around in Canva or make some inspirational quotes or do something. It's like, I'm working on my business today. But, it's like, whereas going to meet people, I don't know who I'm going to talk to or what about, or the idea of having a coffee chat with somebody I don't know who's probably going to pitch slap me their shit makes me want to die inside.
hmm
What about you, Laura?
Yeah, it's funny. It's like when I'm there, once I get there, I'm totally fine if it's a good event like ours. But I'd like to avoid it if I can. But the thing that really does help me is just recognizing how much it does move the needle forward. I'm not quite as like I want to die inside, but but I do sometimes think, oh, there's something else I could be doing right now.
So, yeah, Laura and I created our own networking event simply because we couldn't find one that met all of our needs. We attend different events and they're all good, but what's that saying in this earth? If you can't find the thing you want, that means you're supposed to make it.
Yes.
So we created Networking Without Schmooze. How long have we been doing it for now? Did we start in
You know,
October last year?
it's a great question. Yeah, it was I think around October.
So we're recording this in June. I was about to say May. I somehow lost the whole month. So we've been doing, I don't know, we've done about 8 events now. And I think our point of difference is that we are really aiming for, highly sensitive people and or introverted people, shy people, people who the idea of going to a traditional networking event where you would have your business card or go around the room and give your elevator pitch is just like, can we not?
Yeah, well, and we both hate elevator pitches, so we don't want that to be a part of ours at all.
But I think that's because you're talked at and not
Mm,
to. Like
right.
everyone, like I know when I've been to those type of events in the past, I'm so busy going over in my head my 30-second spiel, I
Yep,
don't actually hear anyone else.
same.
And then when I get to my part and I just rattle it off, I'm like, and it's just kind of like, well, that's an hour of my life I won't get back.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I'm just rehearsing what I'm going to say, and I'm worried about it, nervous about it, and then once I say it, I'm so caught up in the how did it go? I wonder if it went okay. I wonder if they heard that I don't hear anything after me either. So,
When I was at school, we used to read out loud from a novel. We're reading this book this week. And I'm sure I posted about this on social and you were one of the ones who commented on it. And I was like, what I used to do is everyone would read a paragraph. So I'd be like, okay, I'm 10 kids into the line. So I'd find ahead the 10th paragraph and be like rehearsing that in my mind. And then so that when it came to me, it would be a smoother read. But then I didn't take in any of the rest of the book, but I would have pre-read it at home
right.
anyway.
I love that about you.
So, networking without schmooze, how would you say it's different?
Well, I think one thing we don't ask people to do elevator pitches. We don't ask people to speak in the big room, actually. We talk in the big room and then we go into smaller breakout rooms and people can talk there and we give people a prompt. So they're not going into the breakout room having no idea of what to say. They don't have to use the prompt, but it's meant to be helpful so that there's something to at least start the conversation.
And I think the other thing too is I'm a stickler for time. If someone
Yes.
says it's going to start at this time, starts at this time, finishes at this time, because one of my pet peeves in life, I'm not going to say my pet peeve because I have a lot of them, but one of them is if I go to an event that's supposed to start at, say, example 9, and then we don't start to 9:15 because we're waiting for all the people who don't come on time. And
Yep.
then one person invariably takes the stage and kind of becomes their takeover event. And everyone else is just sitting there going, what's this? And I think a lot of the reason online events get a bad rap is because this happens so much. If you're in a
Yes.
room, you kind of tend to spread out into little duos and trios. But online, especially in a Zoom room, if one person takes the mic, everyone else is just kind of like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and you're stuck. It feels terrible. No, I think ours is really well organized. I mean, we did that on purpose. We have a really clear agenda. We let everybody know ahead of time what the agenda is, so they know what to expect. And we prompt along the way so that if somebody didn't read the agenda or maybe forgot, or if they're nervous or something, then we're not expecting them to remember. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I think, and that's such a good point. You can be familiar with an agenda, but when you get nervous, everything goes out of your head.
Yes.
So we start the event at the top of the hour. We do allow 5 minutes because we know sometimes people are coming from something else or whatever. But in that 5 minutes, we're welcoming people. We give them a Google Doc that they can fill in with their business details so you can catch up with people who perhaps you weren't matched with in the Zoom room. Then we give people a prompt. So actually, we had an event recently and people said one of their favorite things was our prompts, which I don't know about you, I haven't asked you. But for me, I found that really surprising because the reason we come up with a prompt is, or at least for me, if I get put in a room with people I don't know and no kind of structure, usually spend the first 5 of the 10 minutes awkwardly in silence going, you go first. No, you go first. And
Hmm.
then talking about something completely random. And then the time's over. And I was like, oh, it's just starting to get my groove and the time's
Yeah.
up. So the prompt was, and you don't have to use it, but it can be like a gateway into the conversation. And the prompts aren't usually directly related to business, or if they are, they're not give us your elevator pitch. They're
Right.
why are you doing this aspect of your business? So I think you've got a few examples of prompts there. Do you want to share them?
Yeah, sure. Like yesterday, we had an event and we asked, what keeps you showing up when you can't be bothered? That was a question that was Suzanne came up with because she genuinely wanted to know because she's been struggling with that herself. What are you creating and or promoting right now? So people could talk about that. In the past, we've asked questions, what do you need? What do you need help with in your business? What are you looking for? Are recommendations, things like that. We've asked about what
Hobbies.
hobbies. We've asked about where are you stuck in your business? Can you think of others? Those are the ones I had in front of me.
Other things I'm thinking about, we've asked like in a particular season, like if it's Christmas or Easter or
Yes.
whatever, does this affect your business? Why or why not? Or around Black Friday, I think we asked, do you do a Black
We,
Friday event? Why or why not?
yep.
And
That fueled a lot of interesting discussion.
it's always with curiosity.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's funny you mentioned yesterday's question, what helps you showing up when you can't be bothered, which was my question. It was funny. So we do 2 rounds of like breakout rooms of networking, and then we do a brainstorming, which we'll get to shortly. But the first room I was in, the person was like, I know it's your question because you told them, Laura, you ratted me out. So they're like, you go first. And then the second room, they were like, I'm not interested in that question. I want to know, both of them were like, what? Because I think we say the things that Gollum said. I'm sure we all have
Yes.
times where we can't be bothered or we're nervous or we'd rather nap or the idea of this makes us want to die inside. But everyone's thinking it. I just say it. And I have no qualms or embarrassment about that because I think the world would be very different if we said what was on our minds rather than pretending everything's a-okay and selling some fake top line highlighted stuff.
Yeah, no, that's our shared point of view around business is that we want to be real and not some kind of fake success. And in fact, I just scheduled an email to go out to our list and I was having a terrible time with the formatting. So I just said, P.S. Sorry about the formatting, but I'm not wrestling with this anymore. And I'm just
We've
assuming
done that
all people have that, right?
on a number of our things. Remember that time you couldn't get our photos lined up? So you're just like, eh.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing. Some people get so stuck in perfectionism and the
Yeah.
spinning, and it's like it's not quite properly aligned. And I'm like, I don't care. Is the gist is there, the heart is there. If you're like, oh, I'm never going to work with her because she can't format her photos, cool, toodaloo.
Right. Not our people anyway. I think the other thing too is we want to be really friendly to people who are somewhat new to being in business, or especially people who are new to talking about their businesses. So many people
Yes.
have come to our networking event and sort of quietly confessed, like, I've been in business for a while, but nobody knows because I don't tell anybody. So I'm here to
Yes.
practice. And I
And I
love that
think
we're a safe
that's
place for that.
that's how you get good. You
Yes.
can't get good at what you don't do. And it's always amazed me how many people who've come to our event who either haven't had a sale yet, like there's no shame with that, or
Not,
are pivoting and haven't quite realized their pivot yet. But then by talking it out loud, so we were talking on the agenda and then we ended up on a segue. So we have the introduction, we have 2 rounds of networking, which go for 10 minutes, and we give you a prompt, a bone, a question to kind of schedule that. And I even take charge and I'm like, whoever's name is first in the alphabet You go first. You don't waste half your time looking at each other going, who's going to talk?
That's right.
And then we have a 5-minute break because I'm introverted and I need to unwind. And also I like to get a drink in the middle of it. And it gives people who weren't there at the very beginning to fill in the spreadsheet so they can put their
Yep.
details there. And then we move into a brainstorming breakout room. So
Which is
this
our favorite part.
it goes for a little bit longer. It's 15 minutes instead of the 10. And even if you don't have something, because sometimes we've been doing this for like, what did we say, nearly 10 times now.
Yeah.
I've a number of times nobody's had anything. We've always found something. Or one person has tentatively said, I don't want to take the stage, but if no one else has anything,
Mhm.
and everyone's like, talk. And even if it's not your issue, you still get so much from the suggestions and thoughts. And this episode that we're recording right now is a result of Laura and I yesterday. We took the stage. We're like, how do we get more people to come to our event? And they're like, if more people were familiar, because we do work with highly sensitive, introverted people, had a feeling of what it's like before they go. So we're like, yeah, we can do that tomorrow.
So here we are. But yeah, I've gotten amazing suggestions for people on things that I've struggled with. And when you're in business for yourself, it's pretty lonely a lot of the time. So we're lucky we have each other. We're on Voxer all the time. But not everybody has a biz bestie to talk to. And so, coming to a group like ours and talking to people and having a chance to brainstorm, it's not just a get to know you, but a real like, I've got this issue. I wonder if anybody can help me. People put their heads together and come up with all kinds of great suggestions. That's really valuable. It
And
has
I've
been
never
for me.
felt sold to. Like, it's like
Oh,
in other things, I know I'd never put my hand up because the second I said something, I'd be inundated with pitches, pitch
yeah,
slapped,
no.
as you and I call it.
Yes.
And the other thing is, even if you don't feel like it on the day, and once again, I always say the unsaid, and most full confession, most every month before the event, I say to Laura, I'm gonna do this today.
It's
It's
true.
my MO. I don't want to do most of the things I do, but once I start, it's kind of like
Yes.
exercise. I don't ever really want to go to the gym or swim laps or go for a walk. I'm like, I'd rather watch TV. But then
Mhm.
once I'm doing the thing, and it's, oh yeah. So it's like that. Like I think sometimes people don't come because I'm tired today or I'm cranky today, but because this isn't a let's put out our business best and speak all corporate and whatever. It's like, oh, this sucks today. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, me too. What is it? Like in one of our breakout rooms yesterday, we had a really big, deep discussion about our thoughts on online business right now and how what has
Mhm.
been working for the last 5 years is simply not. And as you said, it makes you feel less alone because when you're an
Oh, yeah.
entrepreneur, you've got you and your keyboard.
Yeah. And what you see isn't necessarily what people are experiencing because everything is so curated on social media, whereas these conversations in the rooms that we've been in are real.
Yeah. And I just think it's like how you find your people without losing yourself. Because I think when we put on the performance, we find other people who are putting on a performance and there's no depth there. And one of the questions Laura and I often get asked is, how did we become business besties? How do you
Mhm.
find your business bestie?
Yep.
I don't think you're ever going to find a business bestie if you're not honest, because then they're
Right.
also not being honest and there's like a layer between you. And I'm not saying go all doom and gloom because nobody wants to talk to Eeyore, like, oh
Right.
dear. But it's not putting on the fake smile and the fake pitch that you've practiced so many times and pretending everything's all good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing is you're not going to find your biz bestie if you don't get out and meet people.
Exactly. Actually, you and I were just having this conversation recently, but I'll relay some of it for everyone. It was like, people who've had success with whatever they're doing are going to tell you their way of doing it. And I gave the example of dating. And I was like, you
Mhm.
can find love without the apps. And then Laura laughed and said her boyfriend now she found on the apps. So I imagine you're like, apps are amazing. But other people have been like, apps suck. But if you're just sitting on your couch watching TV, unlikely Prince Charming is just going to knock on your door. Like maybe he'll be the Uber Eats deliverer and you'll just have some amazing story. But then you would have had to order Uber Eats for the person to come.
Right. Right. And actually have a conversation, which I don't know about you, but whenever I get food delivery, I say leave it at the door. So
I put it in the order thing. Like, I don't want to talk to anybody ever, which
exactly.
is another
Exactly.
reason that people laugh that I run a networking. People who know me well, they're like,
Yeah.
you? And then when people who come to the networking, they're like, there's no way you're introverted. And I'm like, when you are in a space that you feel comfortable in, like, I think you get to be 100% yourself and then you're not for everyone. And that's okay because not everyone's for you. Like, I can't think of anybody who universally loves everyone.
Right. Right. Well, the other thing too is that we screw up all the time in the networking and we just laugh about it. It's like we forget to throw out the question, or I forget to hit the timer, or it's like we just laugh about it. It's like we have fun. It's not a serious, uptight thing in any way.
I think when you give yourself permission to be human, to have human moments, oh, I forgot to give people the question. Oh, I forgot to share the thing. I remember when there was 1 month, I was like, okay, so go fill in the form. And everyone's kind of giving me a blank look. I was like, hmm. Until one person unmuted and said, what form? I was like, oh yeah, in my head, I'd done it. And I think,
Well, also, I cut you a ton of slack because it's like 5 in the morning for you most of the time when we do this. So I don't know how you do as well as you do that hour of the morning.
and I just think it brings the humanness, and, that
Hmm.
gives you true connection over perfection. And perfection's overrated because I never feel connected with anybody who's perfect and pretty and polished. I don't know about you, but I'm just like, oh, that just
Oh
feels
yeah.
so unrealistic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have actually very little tolerance for that. I really don't. I want real people. I wouldn't work with a coach like that. I don't hire people like that. I want real.
So if anyone's listening to this and they want to come, but I'm not sure what kind of, I don't know, like neither you or I are into overcoming objections or coercion because, but sometimes if you're like, oh, because it's the other thing too. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I'll go next month. Oh, I'll go next month. And I think in this world, a lot of good things are cancelled or put to the side because people don't get around to it. And then when they do close it or shut it, people are like, oh, I've been meaning to get to that because there was a restaurant here. My son and I yesterday we noticed it was closed, and I was like, "Oh, we were gonna go to that." And he's like, "Mummy, we've been gonna go to that for a year." And I was like, "That is so true."
It's a really good example. Yeah, I think it's worth just trying, even if it's a little bit scary. It's worth just trying. We're friendly. The people that come, we actually attract really amazing people. They're all delightful. I have yet to have a problem with anybody. It's just a lovely environment. It's worth giving it a try.
And even if on the day you wake up and you're feeling a bit meh, just know chances are Suze is feeling a bit meh. And I'll be honest about feeling a bit meh. And then once you start chatting, and once I think it's just that kind of relatability and that relief, and they're like, oh, I'm not alone. Because if you wait until you're feeling perfect and whatever, chances are, if you're having the most amazing day, you're not going to want to come to networking anyway. You're going to want to make
No,
the
that's
most
true.
of it.
That's really true. And you can come and be honest. You can get in the breakout room and say, I'm new here and I'm a little bit nervous. Several people said that yesterday.
Yeah. And I love it when people come who, as I said, are pivoting or aren't quite sure on their offer or haven't sold anything yet, or it's a place where you can actually just share the real talk. And yeah, so we run them once a month. I'll put the link to register in the show notes. It's Networking Without Schmooze. We put it through a Substack. So when you click the link to register, it is free. And then there'll be a little prompt or whatever, because we do have like a paid tier. And with the paid tier, Laura and I have recorded, I was going to say a series of audiobooks. By the time you listen to this, it might well be a series.
It's in
Right now, we
progress.
have one full one called How to Network If You Don't Like Talking to People.
Yay.
And the second one is Success Without Social Media. And then we have more in the works. And if you do upgrade to the paid tier, then you can comment, give us feedback, make suggestions. We put out a poll when we're going to put a new book out to see, test the waters. What do people actually want to hear? Because it's funny, I don't think Success Without Social Media was our mine and yours top priority,
It
was it?
wasn't. No, but it was overwhelming majority of what people wanted.
Yeah, I think 75% of people voted
Yeah.
that one. And Laura and I were like, okay, we will
Yeah.
go with what the people want to do. Because I think we have a list of maybe 10, 12
Yeah.
topics because we've been in business for a while. And so you get access to that. You also get to be featured in our events. Now, if the thought of being featured freaks you out, calm down. It's not
It's
like you're
low key.
handed the mic. It's low key. You get to write the spiel that either Laura or I will read, and then we pop you in our follow-up emails. And yeah, we feature you, not like here you go, stand and deliver.
Some people might like that, but not usually our people. So,
No, it's funny. Our people don't usually like that. And the other thing is we have a community. So we have like a discussion thread where we talk about, summits or other things that are open. And you can kind of ask in there in between because our events are once a month. So in between you can, discuss in there. And the other thing we didn't mention on the event, one final thing, we do finish at the top of the hour because, people got things to do. But you and I hang back for 10 to 15 minutes for the after party. And we tend to chat about, like, sometimes people connect who haven't connected in the breakout rooms, depending on how many people attend, or we just do really good book recommendations or TV shows.
yes, which is really fun. But it is a great opportunity to connect a little bit more personally with people, but also if there's somebody that like was in a breakout room with you, but you didn't get to talk to at all for some reason, it's nice to be able to say, hey, I wanted to hear what your answer to that question was. Do you want to share?
Yeah, and I love that part. Do you want to share? Because I did that yesterday. There was somebody I hadn't got to know, and I was like, "Oh, what is it that you do?" If you're comfortable sharing in front of everyone, if you're not, that's cool. I can send
Yeah.
you an email later because there is that spreadsheet where you can connect and follow up with people who perhaps you didn't get to meet or talk to in the room.
Yeah. And to be clear, when Suzanne was asking if you want to share in front of everyone, it was 6 people. So it was not a big group of people.
Yeah, well, there was that too. But I think the permissive part, if ever you're
Yes. Oh
like,
yeah.
I want to pass or I don't want to talk, that's cool. There's no judgment
Totally
there
cool.
because I think sometimes people force themselves to do something because that's expected there.
Yeah.
We don't expect anything. The only thing I'd say is um the camera on preferably because when you're networking it's kind of weird talking to a black square or a still picture of somebody, so camera on and be present in the room, as in like you're not at your kid's soccer game, go Johnny, or driving
Yeah.
through
Or
drive through
driving.
and ordering your food. You're definitely
Yeah.
not driving, but other than that, like yesterday it was so funny. It's so cold, it's winter here, and I have an hoodie, like a wearable giant blanket thing. Laura's seen it and I was like, can I get away with wearing this networking? I probably could, but I put an actual jumper or sweater, as you guys would call it, on, but I was tempted. I was tempted.
It's so funny because it's so hot here. It's hard to believe.
Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you will register. We'll hope that you'll join us. It is
We'd love to
fun.
see you
It is
there.
fast paced. And yeah, at the beginning, especially if you're anything like me, you're like, oh, an hour. And at the end of it, you'll be like, where'd that time go?
It goes really fast. It really does. And it's really fun. I know it sounds weird that networking can be fun, but it's really fun.
I love it. Thank you for joining me, Laura. Thank you, everyone, for
Thank
listening.
you, Suzanne.
Bye for now.
Bye.